I love how a hush just settled over the room when we dimmed the lights. All right. We have with us here today to talk about creating Transformers fan films, Martin Roa and James Manolikas. Take it away.
We made a promise to our planet and our people. A promise to fight for truth, justice, and freedom. Today, we extend that promise once again. Unicron has awakened. And so the time has come to take a stand.
Thank you. Well, hello everyone. For those of you wondering what it is that you just saw, that was the Autobot first look for our fan film, Transformers Rise of Unicron. So, like they introduced us, my name is Martin. I go on the internet as Martinni. And next to me is...
James Manolikas. I'm the 3D artist and designer for the film.
And today we're going to be talking about our fan film, which is, as you obviously saw, Transformers Rise of Unicron. We're going to be talking about it and also the world of fan films as a whole. So before we get into the project, we want to briefly introduce ourselves. There's a third member who will be doing a dramatic entrance at any minute during the panel, which is going to be our director, David Handler. He'll be getting here any minute now.
Yeah, he's currently stuck at passport control at the airport, so hopefully, fingers crossed, he'll be here in the next 30 minutes. I hope so. Well,
exactly.
Fingers crossed. We'll be covering for him in the meantime.
So I am the writer of the script of Transformers Rise of Unicron. I'm also the voice actor for 4 characters. I'm assistant director as well as like the PR manager or social person for Rise of Unicron. So if ever someone gets an email from the team, I'm probably the guy writing it.
And like I said earlier, I'm the 3D artist, 3D modeler, designer, so all the models you see on screen are the ones I make, and designs for most of the characters, texture work, video editing, all the technical side of the project essentially.
So before we talk about our own film, we wanted to cover the world of Transformers fan films as a whole. There's a lot of great projects, and we wanted to take this instance to shout out a lot of them, because there's a lot of people that have been doing great work in the community. For example, our first project.
That would be Transformers Arrival. So, yes, there is a project called Transformers Arrival made by Laszlo Venn. It is a YouTube series, I think currently at 2 episodes. Episode 3 releases at the end of the month. It's a story that takes place after the events of the Bumblebee 2017 movie and before Transformers Rise of the Beasts. From what I've understood from the project, there's a lot of concepts that never made it into the Bumblebee movie, so essentially they're bringing those to to life. It's a very unique project, very interesting project, and quite ambitious, and we thought it would be great to shout it out here today.
Yes. The next project that we want to talk about and briefly shout out, a lot of you people might know about it. He was even in a TFcon recently. It's the name brand company's Cybertron Falls. This is a project made by our good friend Christian Rauch. It's a trilogy of films based on his own universe, own continuity, own story. He's been doing some amazing work in 3D animation as well. So we wanted to take this instance to shout him out and give him a little, a little scope, a little look on his projects as well.
Another project you might know is the Nemesis Prime project from Johnny Flash. Thought we'd shout him out. He's quite a unique project using assets from the Transformers Fall of Cybertron video game. I find it a very interesting project. I loved those video games growing up, and he's essentially created a story with the character Nemesis Prime, and he recently released his Nemesis Prime versus Megatron video a couple of weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so, yeah.
So yeah, thought we'd give a nice shout out to that project, and its unique its unique style of essentially blending in-game scenes with Blender rendered animation scenes. I find it quite fascinating. So yeah.
And obviously, we couldn't, give a shout out and mention the variety of scope of Transformers fan projects that have been in this community without shouting out the king of fan films, who is obviously Kian Carlisle and his project Transformers Combaticons. Kian is also a very good friend of us at the production, and he's been doing some incredible work, not only with Combaticons, but also with his own original work. So I would recommend everyone here to definitely go check out not only Combaticons, but the rest of Kian's work, because it's just amazing. So now that we mentioned, we've given you a little bit of a taste of the scope of the various fan projects that are in this community, we wanted to talk about us, which is of course Rise of Unicron. We want to talk about how the fan film started, how the project sort of like came up to be, and we want to give our scope and our sort of like knowledge, if you could call it that way, on how of what might go on in the world of fan films. Because when you take projects, especially some that can be quite ambitious, it's a lot tougher than it might seem. And there's a lot that goes into these things. We wanted to talk about that. Before, however, I talk about Rise of Unicron, I wanted to give a little bit of a shout out to some of our team members that are in the audience. Number one would be Stephen Lawson, who's sitting right there. He's the voice of Optimus Prime that you heard in the video that we played at the beginning. And also around the room, I can't find him right now, but we got Daniel Faulkner, who's the main actor of Transformers Rise of Unicron.
I think he's waiting outside for David, so...
Oh, okay. Well, we'll shout him out when he comes in. So now we're going to talk about how Rise of Unicron essentially began. This was a project that was started back in 2014 by David, the director. The project originally was supposed to be a sequel to Transformers Age of Extinction. However, after we got the release of Transformers The Last Night, and subsequently the release of Transformers Bumblebee, given that there was an obvious sort of like soft reboot to the continuity, there was like a little bit of a gap, as many of you might know. Those of you who had the unfortunate pleasure of watching the Transformers The Last Night, the movie does end on a cliffhanger. So it left a lot of us Bay fans kind of like wondering what was going to be the plan, what was going to happen afterwards. And that's kind of how Rise of Unicron came to be, and how it got created. The original script and the original movie back in 2014 didn't really go anywhere, but the project really did come back to life in the year 2020, especially with help from Ben Laszlo, who we mentioned earlier, the creator of Arrival. He was originally a member of the team, and he helped he made a video in which we gained, thankfully, a lot of traction. I personally joined this project through a video that I saw from the Fire Brothers. Thanks to him, I was able to get into the project. I originally joined as a voice actor, and then sort of like worked my way up, if you will, and became ended up having the task of writing the thing, which is fun, but it does have its fair share of challenges. Afterwards, one day we got an email of someone who was very interested to join the production. He made car models, and he was from Greece, and he, to this day, is still in the project, and he's the person that's sitting right next to me.
Yeah, so I can recall it was the summer of 2022. I had just graduated from uni automotive design. I'm a massive enthusiast for cars, and I also loved Transformers as well. It was my two main loves, essentially. And that summer, I just happened to see a video on the internet from this project, Transformers Rise of Unicron, which was saying they were looking for 3D modelers, 3D animators, anything, essentially. And I thought, that's brilliant. I want to join. I want to be part of this. And I joined the project. I remember joining the Discord server, having a call with David, and at the time, David was on holiday while we were having an interview, and he was literally interviewing me outside of a restaurant. I had no idea at the time. He told me that 2 years later. So essentially my role, like I said, it started off with designing the cars of the project. So anything you saw in the trailer, like the Chevrolet Camaro, Chevrolet Corvette, the Jeep hologram Hound vehicle, that's where I kind of started off. And slowly worked my way up as well. And during 2023, we had a trailer release, which was the Super Bowl trailer. This is a moment that essentially changed our project, because I remember being invited by David, and there was like a handful of other 3D animators at the time and 3D modelers who wanted to work on this Super Bowl trailer, and he invited me to be part of this as well. And I remember essentially last minute we realized we didn't have enough scenes and we weren't going to make it, and I kind of like just stepped up and with whatever we had at the time just made a trailer. It did well online, but to this day I still think that's one of the worst things I've ever made, and I don't want to look at it ever again. But then the team changed. We kind of established this trio of people who were mainly working on this. So myself, Martinni, and David, and we just kind of got the ball rolling. We kind of just did a reset, and we reset the story, we reset a lot of the characters, and it was just kind of like starting from the ground up, and kind of gave me the opportunity to start working on the robots, such as you see here on the screen, we have Cogman. For those who don't know, Cogman was in The Last Night. You probably don't remember. And he was the little guy. He was a headmaster. And for this film, we've given him a body. And he transforms into an Aston Martin Vantage. And essentially, that's how my role continued there. So I started making all the robots, worked on the Autobots. Any models that we did have at the time, like Optimus Prime or Bumblebee, I went back and redesigned them, redid them, and essentially we kept working at this. Me and Martin were back and forth on calls, I remember, and we'd discuss like different characters such as Drift that you saw in the trailer, and thinking, oh, what could he transform into? What cool aspects we can come up with. And I remember you mentioned, I think it was you who mentioned the battle mask idea.
Yeah, that was me.
So yeah, he came up with the battle mask idea, and then I went and designed it and modeled it. And essentially the goal was to kind of lead up to a new kind of trailer, kind of show it off, and with that all led to the Autobot trailer that released last June of 2024, and we, I think it was just a positively received video where essentially it was the reset of our project and being shown as like, okay, this is our new level of quality now, we want to go only up from that and take our time with this project essentially, because we don't want to rush it. We want to make something good and something that the fans will remember for a long time to come. And all of this is fine. We're making the models and stuff and the animations and the music and the trailer and whatever. However, it's no good if we don't have a good story, and that's where I can pass you on to Martinni, who is the writer and has been given the very, very difficult task of making a sequel to The Last Night.
Yeah. So I wanted to give my insight on this, on the roles that I have for this production, which, like I mentioned before, is that of a writer and that of a voice actor. I want to talk about writing first, because obviously the idea is to give sort of inspiration to anyone who attended this panel today. Give the idea that like it's not impossible to create your own fan film. It does take a lot of work. It does take a lot of passion. It does take a lot of headaches, especially when you're writing a sequel to The Last Night. But in general, it's such a rewarding task, and I wanted to talk about that in general. So one of the things that has come up to me when writing this film was continuity, especially in this franchise. The Bayverse films, as we know, are not the greatest when it comes to continuity, so that was one of the things that I had to look out for immediately when writing this script. It was not easy, but it did allow me to sort of like lay the foundations for what I could do next, which was to sprinkle in the flavor from not only some other films, but also the rest of the franchise. The idea of this is to make a film that not only Bayverse fans can enjoy, but rather fans of the entire franchise, right? It's supposed to be the film, it's supposed to be by fans for the fans in every conceivable way possible. So the script itself not only takes inspiration from Bayverse adjacent material, like for example the comics, but it also takes inspiration from a lot of other Transformers media, like Generation 1, the Generation 1 comics, Beast Wars, the IDW series, Transformers Animated, the Japanese continuity, and our own, well, made-up lore. We still want to innovate a little bit with the story of this universe. And one of the things that I would definitely recommend for anyone who wants to attempt to write a fan film is to sort of like never stay with the first version of your script. Up to this day, there's been like over 30 versions of the Rise of Unicron story.
And each time we think we're finished, there's another one.
Yeah, there's a sort of like metaphorical golden plaque in the office, which is that never say that the script is done, because someone always comes up with an idea and then it's rewrite time. But it's a very interesting process. It's a very rewarding process, especially when you get to sort of like craft a story that not only you yourself are proud of, but that other people can really like. We've shown the story to a lot of test audiences, mostly team members. But in general, everyone seems to be happy with the story. Everyone likes the ideas, and it's just something so rewarding. And we cannot wait for when the film is released and everyone can see what we've been cooking up throughout all this time. Another aspect that I want to talk about is that, like I mentioned earlier, I originally joined as a voice actor, and voice acting is its whole other world. It's a very interesting world. It's a very demanding world, especially physically. And one of the things that I have encountered as sort of like a voice actor in general, not only auditioning for this, but auditioning for other projects. For example, when I mentioned Cybertron Falls, I'm the voice of Swoop in that film. So one of the things that I would recommend everyone try to look out for, and something that has been on my mind for quite a while, is that I personally feel that voice actors tend to only do impressions, and I feel the impression will get you so far. There's a point where you have to transition from impression to acting, because for example, you can do every single Optimus line from Transformers 2007 flawlessly, and they can sound one-to-one, but then if they hand you a line that doesn't exist and you try to do it, that's when it gets tough, because you need to nail the character in every single aspect, not just in the lines that already exist and in the deliveries that already exist. So yeah, that's something that I've learned through fault and error, and I can't wait to eventually show for people to hear the voices and the characters that I'm playing, especially when it comes to my roles, which are that of Starscream, that of Thundercracker, and that of Unicron. So we wanted to also talk about sort of like the general do's and don'ts of this film. which there's a lot. But one of the most important, by far the most important one that we encountered when making this film was a sort of like pyramid that I always like to bring up. It's the pyramid of sort of the triangular balance of time, money, and quality. We don't have money.
We have no money. Oh my God, I don't believe it. David Handler has just entered the scene. There he is. Welcome.
Right on time.
How was the trip?
Really good, stressful.
So can you please introduce yourself for the audience?
Yeah.
Well,
Cutting it a bit close, aren't you? Cutting it a bit close, aren't you?
definitely. Well, went all the way around the world.
That's for sure.
Well, hello. My name is David Handler. I'm obviously the director of the project, Transformers Rise of Unicron. And yeah, I can just say this day is very crazy today. Literally, just went off work in Austria, flew the whole way, and now I'm here. It's crazy.
Happened in the blink of an eye, huh?
Yeah, so where were you guys?
Right, so we were talking about the do's and don'ts of production in general, mostly what we've learned while doing Transformers Rise of Unicron, and I was talking about this triangular relationship between time, quality, and money. One of the biggest things, something that James mentioned earlier, was our little Super Bowl trailer thing that we did, and through that, we learned the value of like these three things, right? Because when you have a good balance of them, it's easy to sort of like, you know, make the boat row and make the production go across, but we eventually had to put our foot down due to the things that we encountered on this. So when we made the Super Bowl trailer, unfortunately, due to time constraints and money constraints and everything, we ended up looking with a product that doesn't look the best.
Yeah, no, get rid of that.
So eventually we decided to make a decision. We took a shift in sort of our philosophy, and we decided to sort of like sacrifice time because we don't have the money to like put ourselves in a time constraint. And our utmost priority, the sort of like tip of the triangle, if you will, has become quality. And you can see that clearly, I feel, reflected in, because these models, by the way, everything here is done by James. Huge round of applause to him, because he's the entire 3D guy behind all of this. And you can just see how night and day the Optimus model in general looks. Like, this looks amazing, and compared to, you know, the previous work, it's definitely quite different. So that was one of the first. Well, that was probably the biggest lesson that we learned, is that you need to find which one of these three sort of like elements of the little triangle that I mentioned you want to prioritize.
Yeah, and also I think another thing that's seemed to have worked with our project and has given us essentially a good flow of work is how, like, our relationship between the three of us. We've been on calls nearly every weekend, and we talk about something new about the project. We'll talk mostly about toys first, but then and what we're going to be buying and not buying, and then what we buy here at TFcon as well. But then eventually, after 2 hours of speaking about toys, we do eventually talk about the project. Hey, but there's constant feedback, back and forth, and kind of just being the trio of like, okay, these are the three people that kind of make the decisions, and like, okay, Optimus Prime will have a battle mask, or Optimus Prime will wear the battle mask upside down. I don't know. It's instead of having like 10, 15 people saying, I want this, no, you want this, I want that, no, it's never going to get done. So it's the three of us, and of course we argue all the time. We always disagree on
All
things.
the time.
But we always also find the ground quick, and we do find it quick, and it only comes down to the fact afterwards that I need to go and make the thing afterwards and lose 10,000 sleepless nights to try to get this done. One thing I will do now, we will quickly backtrack a little bit, just so so David can quickly have a few words and talk about essentially
About your
how
role,
you
how
created
you-
the project,
My
how
role?
it came to be.
Yeah, I try to tell the way the project came to life, but nobody can tell it like this man. He
Yeah,
lived
exactly.
it, so.
So when the movie comes out and you don't like it, you know the guy not to blame. But no, yeah, basically this project started very early on actually. Started way back in 2014 actually. Back then I thought, yeah, I wanted to combine both of my, my kind of my hobbies, which is like filmmaking and obviously Transformers. And I just wanted to do it. I was way in over my head, and in 2014 I couldn't do it, and that's why it just went nowhere. But in 2020 I learned a lot more, and I learned a lot more what it takes to make a film and stuff. And so I thought, let's try it again. And it was quite crazy because at first we were only like 4 people. I don't know where Daniel is right now. He's somewhere in the audience.
There he is.
There he is.
Round
Daniel.
of applause for Daniel, people, please.
Main actor actually
Main
for the
actor.
movie, and he's been there from the beginning, and we were just 4 people essentially, and then all of a sudden we had a team member, Van Laszlo, maybe some of you know him, and he actually made a YouTube video about the project. Suddenly started blowing up. I remember the day I was at a friend's house and suddenly I get messages and messages from people, oh, I want to help here and there and this and that, and I was very overwhelmed. And I mean, again, just when I'm thinking about 2014 David and now sitting here doing this, it's just insane. So yeah, that's how it all really started. And I mean, I don't know how much you guys talked about already, but like our struggle, since I heard Super Bowl and stuff already.
Yeah,
so.
we talked a little bit about the Super Bowl. Yeah.
Enough, I think.
Yeah, okay, so I need to explain all of that again.
Yeah.
But essentially, all I can say is this whole thing has been a wild ride, and I'm just so excited and happy, and this year is like one of the big highlights, and it's all worth it, the whole stress I took to get here. I literally ran through the whole airport. I don't know if you ever had that, but it was crazy. I speed-runned it in 10 minutes. Yeah, so yeah, I'm just excited to be here, and I'm just excited to continue this
To be fair,
project.
you don't even seem out of breath, so that is quite impressive.
Yeah.
I would say.
So yeah, so all of this sort of like lessons, all of this information, it culminated into the first look of the Autobots, which is again the first video that we played as sort of like this little introduction, and it's something that we consider within the production as like a little bit of a reset, right? This was a reset button. From here on out, we start doing it the right way, and I think it's safe to say it's gotten us in a pretty good position, right?
Oh, definitely. Most definitely, yes. I think the first look trailer just was the first time we really tried to
Push the
stay at the quality we wanted to always
Yeah.
have, right?
Yeah.
So that was the real proof of test, right? What we wanted to have, yeah.
Yeah. Now, before we finish, there is one more topic we need to discuss. So, you may or may not know, if you follow our social media, we actually have a video releasing at the end of this month on the 31st. It is actually our Decepticons reveal trailer. So, for the past year, I've been working on the models for the Decepticons, coming up with new designs, and it's now finally releasing next week. Would anyone like to watch it now? Okay, without further ado, we would love to reveal you the Decepticons of our film.
Enjoy.
As an exclusive TFcon 2025 Chicago premiere, here is the video of the Decepticons.
They will tolerate it.
So we are proud to finally announce our lineup of the Decepticons, starting from left to right. First character, the yellow one, is Warp Bomb, turning into a Hyundai HA45A dump truck lorry. Now, this next one has had a lot of discussion online of who this is. We've heard lots of names. We've heard Oil Slick. Yeah. We've heard Oil Slick. We've heard Knockout. It's none of those. It's an original character. Her name is Whiplash. And next one up is also one of my favorites, admittedly, to work on. This is Dead End, turning into an Audi Unicron e-tron electric rally car.
Then on the other side of the screen, from right to left this time, we have the Decepticons scientist officer for this film, Brunt. We have, sporting a complete redesign and new color scheme, the Decepticon Psychon. Next to him, with a look that merges all of his both appearances in The Last Night and in Transformers 2007, and technically Get Dark of the Moon, we got the Decepticon police officer, Barricade. And last but not least, on the dead center of it all, we got the leader of the Decepticons, Megatron.
And I would also like to point out that Martin Roa actually had the chance to voice Megatron for the trailer, so that's his voice that you heard in the trailers again.
So, yeah, we hope you guys enjoyed the reveal. Did you enjoy the reveal? What? Without further ado, it's time for us to shut up and and essentially open it to you. We want to have a little Q&A session where everyone can ask a question about the film. We also have up on the screen, in case you want to follow up after this presentation, a QR code to our YouTube channel and our QR code with to our Instagram. Those are the two places to get every single information regarding Transformers Rise of Unicron. And when it comes to YouTube, that's going to be the place to watch that video that we played again once it releases on the 31st.
Yeah.
Hi all. I kind of lost my voice, so
sorry to hear that.
I'm going to try and force out this question. So Martin, very talented guy. Sorry, we're currently staying together as a cast, and I wanted to ask you. You mentioned quite a bit of fan films in that slide there. I noticed one was missing. Why didn't you mention the fantastic, amazing Transformers distortion?
There's a Transformers stop motion in the works, made by the talented filmmaker Derek Woods. It's called Transformers Distortion, and I recommend everyone go check that out once it releases.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hi, so this is my first time actually hearing about this, and it looks awesome so far, you guys. Are you going to include any more characters, or for the Autobots or Decepticons, or even just neutrals or rogues, or is all you have right now like that?
David should answer.
There's an old saying at this production, an old line that if you read up on our history, you'll get really familiar with it. David,
Please,
do you want to say it?
What do you want us? You'll have to wait and see.
How dare you? It looks awesome, guys.
It's just the way it is. We can't reveal it.
Yeah, no, but there will be a lot more to come, so don't worry, stay tuned.
Come, yeah.
For sure.
Which design was hardest to make?
Oh, God. Right, design-wise, I think I'd say Whiplash was one of the trickiest ones to work on in terms of design, because the proportions were always wrong for some reason. It just took a while to fix it. Also, the bike was a nightmare to make. I never want to make a motorbike character again, even though it was my idea to include her in the first place. But anyway, that's my blame. The worst one is the one sitting in the middle.
Yes.
Megatron. Now, shout out to the person, I've already put, what's his name again?
Christopher Lee.
Christopher Lee, who worked on the actual ILM model of Megatron. After looking at it and all the pictures and all the models online, just trying to look and take reference to say how am I going to make Megatron. that was the biggest nightmare of my life. It took 3 months to make Megatron, the first version of Megatron, because that's not even the first version, that's the second version. He has a few forms in the film, spoiler alert. Yeah, that's even now when I boot it up to work on an animation, like for example the scene where he's talking at the very end, not only was it a nightmare to make all his facial animation and make it move accurately like it did on the last night, it was also just a big strain on my computer. You need a big computer for this, like absolutely, like biggest graphic card possible, every single cooling system in the world. I don't care. Throw ice on the computer, like my computer was on fire by the end of it. Also, trying to get this done in. After we found out that we were actually going to be attending, there was like a 1 month window to finish this trailer. Let's just say, making myself ill in the process as well, trying to get this done. It's not great. But yeah, the answer is Megatron.
And can I just say,
long shot.
I've seen you model this a lot for hours, and I've seen the pain in this man's eyes.
Yeah, he will
so
never.
Trust him, it was
he will
hell.
never recover from this.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
What was the hardest part of development?
That's a difficult one.
There's been a lot of various bumps on the road, but I think, and I think my two witnesses here can vouch for me, that there's one character that stands out for being a nightmare to go through, and that character is called Hot Rod. There were long debates, long evenings, hours and hours and hours, just discussing his face.
It is very ironic.
By the way, I just want to say it was those two arguing. I wasn't.
Yeah, we do have it online. You will find somewhere there is actually a Hot Rod face reveal. The only character who gets his own face reveal, ironically.
If you're interested to know more about like what goes on behind production, on our YouTube channel there's a whole video on the behind the scenes of just the Autobots, and we will be doing another video for the Decepticons eventually. So I would definitely recommend.
After we get a bit of a break, obviously.
Yeah. Like let us buy some toys, please.
What was the hardest Autobot to work on in the film?
Hardest Autobot.
Other than Hot Rod's face.
Yeah, that. No, I'm kidding.
I have no idea. What was the hardest one?
I mean, Optimus was tricky, but I actually, we had a half ready-made model of Optimus already from any previous model that was before me. Now I'm the only one left who does this, so I'm the one who does all the model work and reset everything. But Cogman was a tricky one. He was, not because of like, complexity of the design, but more like coming up with a design. So essentially, and it was also during a time period where I was trying to get it done quickly because I wanted we wanted the trailer to release. So Cogman was a tricky one for the simple reason that every single time I was trying to do like a new body design for him, where they had these like flared wings on the back, and and picking the alt mode as well, trying to design an alt mode, because I've also designed the cars for the Autobots. The Decepticons, we decided to go a bit more official vehicles that already exist, even if they're concepts or whatever, but yeah.
There's a lot of objects for how the animation goes, because not only you got the characters like parts to move, you always got like other features, like the beard.
Many features for everything, and that's why it takes a lot of computer power to run these models. Like there are a lot of pieces.
Yeah,
a lot of
exactly.
Pieces together working. Megatron and Warp Bomb and Run actually. Run actually was a tricky for his textures. That's a new thing. We've actually come up where we've been improving our textures as well for the characters, so they have a bit more accurate scratches rather than just random patches. Runt was a nightmare. So because of the rust material, and actually, ironically, was rendering one of his last scenes. I got multiple errors on my computer, and even an error from my keyboard. I've never had an error show from my keyboard. How does that happen? And so I disconnected everything, disconnected the extra monitor. So I thought, all right, I'll just leave the laptop at this, because it's like a powerful laptop that I just travel around the world with to try and work wherever I can, whenever I can. And I just rendered it out and went to bed, because that's what you do. You work all day animating 1-2 second scene, only to then wait for it to render 10 hours, and then you wake up the next morning, found out you've done a mistake, go back at it again. and you just pray.
Yeah, you just pray, essentially.
Do you think that there will be any figures of these designs?
Oh, we wish.
That's the question that even we don't like to ask ourselves, because the answer is so sad.
We wish.
We would love to be honest, especially for us. We hope, like, if it does happen that there are some figures that do come to existence, unfortunately it won't be made by us, because that's when we start getting into
legal trouble,
legal issues. So but we hope some, if there's any toy designers in the audience, like,
please.
like hook us up, please.
Make our figures.
Yeah.
Who was your favorite Autobot to design and your favorite Decepticon to design?
I noticed a lot of questions here. There's other two here as well.
It's fine.
My favorite Autobot. 2 seconds. Okay, I can confirm, because obviously we can't reveal spoilers, but it's actually Dino who was my favorite. We have Dino in the film. Somewhere on the internet you will find a picture of Dino. He's not part of the main roster. He's somewhere in the film, but he was my favorite because he's the first one I actually made as a model, as a robot, full-on scale robot. He turns into a Ferrari 250 GTO. I love Ferraris, obviously.
Hello, pleased to meet you, gentlemen. I'm Joe Bryan. I'm a commercial illustrator, and I've always had dreams of creating my own comic and animation. And I love what you're doing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm a huge fan of the Transformers films, and always dreamed of continuing the live action films. But they never saw the light of day. And to see them be realized is a miracle. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the kind words. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question for all three of you, and I wanted to ask if you could theoretically have like any car, but it has to be like a Transformers related car, like, you know how Bumblebee's a Camaro, and it has to be like the Bumblebee spec Camaro. Which car would you have? And it can only be your only car, your daily.
That's tough.
Gas money is not a problem, by the way. Nor is maintenance, nor is Ferrari's legal issues.
To say, you're my favorite question of the day so far.
I'm a car guy, so it makes sense.
Should I start?
Yeah, you're the car guy.
The 2007 Camaro, the concept Camaro, when it just came through the tunnel and the music started playing, just fell in love with it. Yellow, black racing stripes. You can't get any better than that.
What about you, David?
What about David?
Thank you.
I would join you in that. I also think it's the Camaro, the 09 Camaro. I think it's a beautiful car all around. I agree with you.
So
I saw it.
So we have movie 1 Camaro and movie 2 Camaro.
Yeah.
No, 2 or 1?
2.
You said 2009.
2009.
I'm going to have to break the pattern. I'm sorry, I'm not going to say Bumblebee. I'm going to go with the 2017 Police Mustang.
Good pick, yeah.
You know what? That's fair.
I'm a Decepticon guy at heart, so...
Yeah, 69 RS.
Which one?
69 RS, Bumblebee with the yellow stripe in the front, the black Camaro with the yellow stripe.
Yeah.
So that's what you choose. Is that your choice?
Yeah.
Nice. Good
Nice, very nice.
Did you have any difficulties deciding on the cast or the character lineup?
It was very interesting. There's a whole world of Transformers characters, and it's very fun to, not only come up with new characters, but also pick ones that are obscure. Like, for example, Brunt, he's not an original character. He's from Generation 1. He's like a little turret on Triptychon. So choosing characters like that, and, choosing who to bring, there's obviously plenty of surprises in the actual film. So if there's a character you want and it hasn't been released, it still might be there. Who knows? So it was a difficult process, but there were some characters that we had dear to heart that we wanted to try and include. There were some characters that are staples and people wanted them in the films, so we also took that into consideration. But I'd say the main criteria to choose characters is sort of like a balance between those two things, like between the ones we want and the ones we would think the fans would most appreciate.
All right, thank you.
No problem.
Well, I actually have a question, but we are wrapping up. This is the question I wanted to ask. Do you guys have any sort of a timeline in mind for when this film will release?
Question.
I knew it would be that kind of question.
Not the question.
Yeah.
David, you think you can take this one?
So I don't know how much you said, but you probably said we have decided that we wanted a certain quality bar we want to reach, and we definitely don't want to go below that, even if that means it taking longer. We just want it to be the best it can be. So we made the mistake too many times to say, oh, it come out this date, this date, this date. So we're just like, it's ready when it's ready. Sorry.
Yeah.
When we do announce a date, that's when you know.
Yeah, that's when you
it's
know.
going down.
Exactly.
Remember,
that's
this
when you
isn't
really
our
know.
full-time job either. We all work, or uni in this case. But yeah, we're doing this in our spare time, so we're just trying our best as much as we can. I mean, it took a year to make these guys. So yeah, we'll try our best. We'll try our best, honestly.
Well, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for having us. Thank you for having us.
Thank you, everyone, being there.
This is your rodeo, buddy.